Hi everybody, welcome to the channel for a new battle report. I attended a boot camp that we played together with the team ETC Switzerland, and one of the players that was attending is Johnny, who is from Switzerland but is playing this year as a mercenary for Mexico, and I played my first game against him because I wanted some practice against Sylvan Elves. So I have 3 battle reports from this bootcamp that I'm going to show you, and it's also good to show you some miniatures and mix it up a bit more with the Warhol battle report, not only online battle report but also live miniatures. I think we all enjoy that because it's one of the reasons why we play this hobby. You know my list, this was John's list, so he has 3 mages, he has an avatar of nature, who is the main combat force together with 6 ticket beast and 2 units of 5 wild huntsmen. The rest is basically shooting, a lot of archers, a unit of forest guard, then pathfinders and briar maiden. We played spoil of war and then cycle, and below you have the spell selection of both players. Worth mentioning on my side is basically the full magic missile, which is always something really interesting against Sylvan Elf. Matchup analysis. High range damage output, I think that's something valid for his list, definitely from the shooting aspect, and he has also two good magic missile. And on my side it's mainly about the magic missile that has some juicy targets with all these models with res 3, no armor or some small armor. Secondary I think should be to my advantage since board control should be mine. I don't really fear any 1 versus 1 battle between my main block and his main combat threat, so I think I should be able to get board control and possibly an advantage on secondary. Starting I think would be good for 2 reasons. First of all, to push on spoils, I think it's often the good decision. And second point would be to start inflicting range damage to his list. His avatar and ticket beasts are not so scary for me as soon as I have enough model to fight them. Basically that's it. And I'm going to pay attention that my 2 casters, mainly the pyro mage, are not in combat because I need them to deliver damage output from distance. Deployment ended up being the following. So John won the role for side. He gave me the one with the impassable in the middle and took the big flanks to be close from 2 spoils. He wanted, I think, to have the freedom to deploy either more to the left or more to the right. I ended up obviously deploying everything to start the game, so I went with a solid middle left to focus on 2 spoils, and then I went for a more mobile, versatile right flank. So I put the Frosty, the giant, and 1 scoring unit on the right, scoring looking towards the left, so either I can wheel, go for this spoil if he doesn't go to the right, or if he went for the right like he did here, I can still march away and move away with single model that have good lateral movement. And then on my strong flank I put Mercvets, dogs, shooty Mercvets with a BSB, 3 character within the bruises, and a small dart of Triceman. His counter deployment, he put the ticket beast within the forest corridor, so to say. Then you have the avatar, archer in the middle, some wild huntsmen on each flank, the briar maiden here in the front to avoid also any frenzied, eagle in back, and the pathfinder more in the back. So it's very compact on this right flank. So I know from his deployment he wants to minimize my aggression, but I know that I have some advantage on these 2 spoil of war early on. So my turn 1 I push hard, march with pretty much everything, and I notice I don't want to stop on the spoil with this unit. I want to push them as fast as possible. So I turn around those guys with the reform. I don't have any musician, but that next turn I can do 12, 12, 12, and I have enough time to claim this marker with this unit, and then free those guys that can still march forward fast. Move my Frosty next to the Death Star to establish some board control. The giant stayed on the far right to put some distance between the single model and force him to manage the giant, and those guys start to marching towards the left. In Magic Phase he dispelled a first fireball that I used 3 dice to cast on a Pathfinder. He used 2 dice and dispelled that on an 8, but then I got second fireball and I killed 3 Pathfinder, and then with 4 dice against 5 I'm able to kill the 2 remaining Pathfinder. So I kill 1 unit of 5 turn 1, which is a good start. His turn 1, he moved a bit forward, but as you can see not so significant. He failed Master of Hurt, I dispelled Ice and Fire, and he got +1 resilience on his general on turn 1. Shooting, he did 5 wounds to my Frosty. Between the bolt thrower guy and all the res strength 3 shooting, he managed to do 5 wounds, so I'm almost dead. Definitely this guy is going to retreat quickly to the back. And yeah, worth mentioning that this Death Star is going to stay in this field for the moment, so I'm getting some soft cover. My turn 2, I continue to push, this time not so much with them because I get in range for shooting. I'm on the spoil with the Death Star, I'm starting to march with those guys to the left, and I retreat. The Frosty Giants start to retreat as well, and those guys march to the left. I want basically to give him as little point for free as possible, and I start to move those guys forward to try to prepare Chaff for later on. And Magic Phase, I failed from a Finsect, he dispelled 2d6 strength 4, but then I got a Fireball, I roll a 6 on the hit, and I kill all 5 Pathfinders, so this was not unlucky. I was quite happy about that. So turn 2, I kill all 10 Pathfinder, there is no way for him to heal them, which is really nice. And then shooting, I did 1 wound to the Ticket Beast, 1 and 2 wounds to the Archer between 1 Blaze and some shooting attacks. Let's move on to his turn 2. Start to move a bit more forward. Nothing significant to mention though. On Magic Phase, got 2d6 strength 4, did 1 wound to some Tribesmen here in the back that was in the BSB and General Bubble. Then I dispelled the other 2d6 strength 4. He healed 2 Archer, and with shooting he did 9 wounds to my Bruiser in soft cover from long range. This is crazy, so I know that it hurts, really it hurts. And at this point I was like, I have only 5 of them left, so I could drop the secondary at any point later. I don't know if that was the right decision to try to claim it as soon as possible, but it's often good to do it. But now, yeah, I'm like feeling the pressure from his range damage. My turn 3, I take the spoil here, I continue to march to the left, I push forward with the 2 Merc and I start to chaff the Ticket Beast to allow me to push a bit more forward. Retreat all the way to the back. He had almost no range with anything to the Frosty already last round, and I'm able to retreat even more, move those guys forward just in case something happened to them with Magic Missile from Master of Earth. I can still march them on the secondary. And I pushed the Giant. He left a gap for free. There's only those guys strength 3 looking at me. So I felt, let's go for it. I just marched forward and threatened his flanks. In the Magic Phase, I didn't pay too much attention to those guys, which I could have potentially done better. And because they are on the spoil, so I could have maybe angled myself a bit better to avoid them going out of line of sight. In the Magic Phase, I got Swarm of Insect, did kill 5 Archers, he dispelled Pyroflow, Fireball dispelled, and I fail a Fireball on 1 dice. Shooting, I kill on the Archer. He's turn 3, he chaffs my my Giant with the Wild Huntsman, turn around with the Archer to shoot me. Those guys march away, they have exactly 3 ranks, so they can march away. He start applying pressure, so he uses the... he uses 2 pieces of chaff, so he charged my dogs and uses 2 pieces of chaff to chaff me. First one, a Briar Maiden that chaffed those 2 blocks, and the last block is chaffed by Eagle. So he's starting to push and he prepares Wild Huntsman plus the Avatar looking at me. So basically trying to apply some pressure and get some short range shooting. But now it's very welcome that Giant diverts some of his shooting to another place. In Magic Phase, 2d6 strength 4, did 3 wounds to the Mercvets. He healed with 1 dice, and he did a couple of wounds to the Giant. He did 2 wounds to the Giants with shooting and 2 wounds to the Mercvets, which is not much on the Giant, to be honest. And then close combat, I'm going to do 2 wounds to the Ticket Beast, which was surprising, and he did 8 wounds to me. I flee. He decided to restrain and pass the check to restrain. My turn 4, I charge a chaff. Here I just move back, I have the spoil. I'm happy with that, I'm staying with the field. If I would have charged here, he has some easy charges then, and I want to have my Magic Missile out of, basically out of combat. So I'm just going to missile those guys, move slightly back, didn't rally the lone tiger that is fleeing. Here I grab I go on the spoil, and I move away with the Frost. In the Magic Phase, he dispelled 2d6 strength 4. I got Swarm of Insect, kill one something, I think 1 of the Wild Huntsman. Then I got a d6 on the Briar Maiden, kill 1 and kill 1 more Wild Huntsman with the Blaze. And then shooting, I'm going to kill 2 Wild Huntsmen, but there is only 1 alive, which is still annoying. What happened in close combat? I managed a roll a bit below average, managed to do 3 wounds total. He strikes before me and roll okay. I mean, like expected, did 2 wounds to me, so I had 3 wounds left, and I was able to do that. He managed to hold with 1 guy left, I think, yeah, 1 or 2 guys left, but basically all combat. and yeah, which is not bad for me because I avoid a ton of shooting, so it's definitely not bad for me at all. He's turn 4, it chaffs me here again since I didn't get rid of the chaff. Reposition here the avatar, push a bit. Those guys look at my giant. As you can see, I left 1 and 1 alive, and that's it in the magic phase. Obviously didn't want to charge me with those thicket beasts, because with 5 of them against 8 merc threats, he has no chance. In the magic phase, I should have used the binding scroll on heal on summer growth and dispel the second heal. That would have been perfect, and I didn't, so he was able to raise 2 guys here, 2 guys here. I should have really definitely used the binding scroll. That's a huge mistake here. Shooting, he killed some bruises. I have 2 or 3 left, and then close combat. With 3 wild huntsman, he rolled again pretty average, did 2 wounds, I have 1 wound left, I killed them, and I'm able to get the free pivot, so I wasn't punished for my mistake, get the free pivot. On my turn, I charged those guys on the short charge, he decided to flee over them, and then I failed the redirect on the 8 to try to charge them on the 9, so that's it. I charged with the merc vets onto the Briar Maiden, want the magic missile, I just jump with the character, move away with the 2 remaining bruisers, and that's it more or less in the magic phase. I got kill 1 archer with swarm, dispel 2d6 strength 4. I got +1 resilience onto the bruisers, which I could have had earlier, to be honest. And shooting, I'm going to kill some archers. Yeah, what else happened here? Close combat, I fluff a bit, only kill 2. So he has 2 left, managed to flee, I restrain to face what's here. Yeah, that's a bit disappointing again, and he rolled really low for the flee. He ended up chaffing me again because he rallied out of bubble on the 9. And he pushes with the ticket beast in front of me because he cannot really escape to the back, so he just basically marched them forward to be stubborn in front of the merc rat. So we'll see what happened next. In the magic phase, yeah, I double flee with the giant. I think he charged first with those guys, I hold, then those guys, I flee, and then the avatar I flee, and I didn't flee far. Basically, the idea with fleeing, first of all, was to end up maybe in front here and not dying here in the middle, trying to create some cover for the bruisers. That was the idea. So I fled, but he catch me at the end. But 3 units making fail charge is not bad, basically, or 1 catching me. I binding scroll 1 of the magic missile, dispel the other one, and he got stone skin onto the ticket beast, which makes impossible for me to engage them. He got also +1 strength on them, I guess. So on my turn, I cannot really charge, so I stay in a position where I chaff them. Charge with a small dart onto the 2 remaining Briar Maiden. I'm up by 2, so that should be not bad. And the rest just retreat with the spoils. And as you can see, the guy just survived to shooting, barely survived, and managed to hide behind everything. I put the blocks together, and there is no way he can shoot him. He's out of 6 inches of the hill, but he can blast me with the lake, which is the one that I have to stop. And other than that, I should be fine. In the magic phase, I got Swarm of Insect, kill 4 archer. I dispel the fireball, and I fail the fireball on 1 dice. And here, yeah, again, I fluff, did 0. He did the max he could do, which is 1 with the Briar Maiden and 1 with the stag or the mount. And basically is able to do 2 to 2, which is tie combat, so I don't break him. I reform to the left to make this charge longer. It's charge on 9, but on his turn he managed to get the charge on 9 and get me. And basically the result of this is just 1 point at the end, because it's 200 points of Briar Maiden and 150 of those guys. So yeah, he gets rid of them, but I could have one point more because it ended up being a 10-10. Would have been 11, moving to 14 instead of 13, which is not the end of the world. But that's how we ended up. So I won the spoil barely, which ended up being a 13-7. Post-game analysis. So Sylvan Elves decided to minimize my attack, but he gave me a lot of space and room to get an advantage on secondary. After deployment, it was mainly a range game. I held the spoil of war until the end, but I was really close to die with the remaining bruiser. And yeah, cleaning quickly the Pathfinder was really important in this game. I was quite lucky with the 2 first couple of spells that made able for them to be all dead before the end of turn 2. Some unlikely and unhappy outcome for the Ogres. So the one with the giant was actually in my favor. I made here a big mistake by not using the binding scroll on the heal option, which was a huge risk. I was a bit unhappy with that decision. But then to survive and be blocked in combat was actually good, and the two other CC against Briar Maiden were a bit unlikely and unfortunate, and cost me point at the end. Endgame decided to protect the scoring instead of dispelling the buff, which didn't allow me to go against the Naked Beast. Guys, that's it for this battle report. I hope you liked it, and talk to you soon on the channel for the second game. Bye bye.